saw, dudes, in our last video, Joby got called out by the entire cast for attempting to meet up with the stripper that he's banged in the past as a married man. Yara thought it was wheat sauce that her man walked away instead of taking personal accountability, and when he got back to his hotel room, he said this to the audience.
At the end of the day, like, I know I was wrong, but like, let's move past it. I'm sorry. Like, it wasn't a huge mistake because nothing happened.
Okay, so Joby knows that he's in the wrong, but he doesn't see how trying to meet up with the girl that he's taken on a trip and banged in the past as a married man is a big deal. And this is because nothing happened. I'm gonna break this down in place of the therapist because they don't do their job on this show. Joby, the main issue you've been asked to work on throughout your time at the resort is keeping secrets from your wife, Yara. So something did happen, buddy. You lied to her about the strip club and the woman that you were messaging behind your wife's back. Infidelity is a choice, Joby. You put yourself in a position to cheat. Whether she showed up or not, you shouldn't have reached out in the first place.
Oh, you're back.
Yes, I am back because I live here too.
Ed.
So right now, Joby's trying to shift all the blame onto Ed when Yara's like, dude, I'm in a relationship with you, not Ed. I don't care what Ed does at the strip club. And when Yara says this to Joby, he says, okay, well, why are you mad then? The audacity. Honestly, it makes me wish that Yara had another drink in her hand so she could throw it in his eyes again. Or better yet, dunk tank with Joby. On a more serious note, right now, Yara wants to get to the bottom of her husband's stripper addiction. So she asks him straight up, what is it about the stripper? Why did you message her?
I know her. I know she works here. I was thinking, like, if I message her, like, we can have a fun night.
Okay, define a fun night out, Joby, because from the way that you've moved, it seems like you wanted to clap this girl's cheeks, and we're trying to do so. If anything, I think we're all just looking around surprised that Yara hasn't divorced him yet.
And that's all there is to it. Like, it's not like I'm trying to hook up with this girl or something. Like, get over
Yeah,
it.
but you did hook up with her before.
Not in.
Wow, it's incredibly disrespectful to look your wife in the eyes and lie like that. It's especially moronic to lie about this because you were bragging about how you went on a trip with this girl in the past with the other guys, and when Kelly asked if you smashed or not, you smiled, and that just gave it away.
You did.
I did not.
Dude, you was with her in Costa Rica for 2 weeks.
Costa Rica, I went to Jamaica with her.
Jamaica, that doesn't give. This is not important that you've been with her for 2 weeks.
It just is a conversation that never should have happened. He's obviously yearning for this girl's attention, and if that's the case, that's not fair to Yara because there's a lot of dudes that would treat her like a superstar. Yara then tells Joby that it's messed up they came to this resort to work on their relationship, yet they get here and he's messaging strippers behind her back. Then Yara brings up another good point, and that's that she's always trying to look good for her man, but him messaging these other girls or craving their attention makes her feel really insecure about herself. Joby continues to act like a little bitch for the rest of the night and say that Yara should give him a break because he was drunk, trying to blame it on the alcohol. Listen up, buddy. We have footage of you messaging this girl when you're sober, trying to impress the other guys. So don't try to blame it on the alcohol. Take accountability. Cutscene to Liz playing the victim because she's butthurt that Ed stood up for Yara and not her in the past.
Babe, I'm sorry I didn't stop, but I didn't mean to disrespect you, but he kept coming at me.
Clearly, you're not ready to apologize then if you're making an excuse.
Let me know what y'all think in the comments about this, but I think that it shows growth that Ed apologized in the first place, and he's being very patient about the situation. I would have actually said a lot of worse things to Liz than he's saying to Liz, because she has a whack take here.
But I also don't want you to put yourself in danger to protect me. That's not your job.
Prevent at the moment. I'm never gonna not know if I'm gonna jump in.
You're in control of your own words and actions, so what Ed's saying right now makes a lot of sense, actually. A woman has no place in a fight between two men, plain and simple. If Ed lost the fight to Joby, at least he went down swinging. And it's perfectly reasonable for your fiance to be worried about your safety as a woman involving herself in a dispute between two men. 99.9% of guys would agree with Ed's take here.
That's impulsive. What you can prevent is not letting the situation escalate.
No, Lizzie, you're wrong here because Joby standing up and doing that front step thing, getting big on Ed and getting in his face, that wasn't Ed's fault. Ed said something that triggered Joby, bringing up his daughter. Joby could have responded, your daughter doesn't even talk to you, Ed. You can tell that they both don't game or play sports.
You should not have interjected yourself into the situation.
How am I not supposed to not do that?
I don't know. Control?
Ed's funny for that. He goes on to tell Liz that he really appreciates her trying to step in and stand up for him. However, it's a situation where she shouldn't have involved herself in, and it makes him look weak. When Ed brings up that it made him look weak, Liz cries and walks away, is so dramatic, makes it all about herself. It's funny because that whole situation had nothing to do with her. And here's the thing, I get that Liz is holding on to a lot of resentment because Ed has disrespected her a lot in the past, but I wish that she picked better arguments because for this this argument, she's wrong. And if you're eating food right now, I'm sorry.
You're gonna my coochie?
It's a good thing this is the last episode because I don't know how much more my brain can take. Next, we see Kalani and Asuelu. She says to the audience that her new guy makes her feel wanted and Asuelu doesn't.
Like, you're a part of our family, we are a part of your family. That doesn't change just because we don't end up together.
Hey, I hope they heal or whatever. It's a good thing that they're breaking up because this relationship was doomed from the start. It was actually such a dumb relationship to enter because at the time that Kalani was a 29-year-old virgin that went over there to Samoa with her family and lost her virginity to the pool guy that was Asuelu and he was 23 years old, he was sending all of his money to his mom. In fact, even when they got together, he was still sending his money to his mom.
Give her my whole check when I starting work.
Probably like $600 to $700 a month.
So you've given your mother thousands and thousands of dollars.
Fast forward, they get together, they're starting to build this family together, and he's still sending his paychecks to his mom.
And then even before he came to America, he cleaned out his whole bank account and also gave that to her, which we fought over because I thought that he should have brought it to the babies, or it was just Oliver at the time.
This guy can kick rocks. How does that even make sense? You're building a life with your partner and you're prioritizing sending the money to your mom so that she can give it to the church, so she can impress the people in her community to make herself look better. That's so ass backwards. As the therapy session begins, the broken toys tell the TLC employees about the argument that took place on the boat.
What had happened on the boat between Ed and Joby caused an altercation in our relationship.
Liz is trying very hard to make the situation about herself, which is on brand. Meanwhile, Edward's talking about how he's learned so much in therapy and they're always going to be a work in progress.
Whether or not Liz and I move forward, I'm gonna come out a better man. That I know.
The therapist that looks like Jenny then tells Ed and Liz that they've made so much progress at the resort.
The awareness that both of you gained through the counseling process was enormous.
This lady's a really good actress. She should be on a TV show or something. Liz is wearing the same facial expression as the majority of the audience right now. Very confused because originally we assumed that the therapist would be legitimate on the show. The only therapy sessions they've had on this TV show were either sex-focused, an obstacle course, or about past life regression. And we've all probably seen that movie Couples Retreat, so we know what this bullshit is supposed to look like, and it's not this. No one was held accountable throughout this entire season.
There was an incident. He had a chance to go with the guys to the strip bar, and he knows I'm very jealous because of what he did to me, and he passed.
This is so dumb. Michael isn't even physically there. He couldn't go with the other guys to the strip club even if he wanted to. I will say though, when all the dirty dudes were at the strip club and they called Michael, him hanging up really fast was a great look for him, and it really helped him because now Angela feels like he's earned a lot of her trust back. Now, the bad thing about the dirty bird, Kaka, is that she set a false narrative, and that's that Michael needs to earn her trust back, and he's done her so dirty in the past. He's flirted with other girls. He's cheated on her. She does the same thing to him. In just about every episode, she's flirting with the waiter. She's flirting with the bellhop. She's flirted with a lot of men on this TV show, and she constantly speaks ill about her husband. So what I'm really trying to say is shout out to the therapist for not calling her out, the hypocrisy. It is such a cowardly move to enable someone that feels comfortable being abusive on national TV. But hands down, bar none, the most tilting comment made by the therapist that looks like Jenny is when Joby and Yara were talking about the stripper situation.
I didn't mean anything bad about what I did last night.
I get it. Okay.
I just wanted to have fun with the guys, and that's it.
It's fine.
You said it, but that's not true.
Joby knows for a fact that his wife Yara doesn't want to talk about this, especially with the other NPCs around. She's feeling embarrassed, she's crying, and he tells her that he was just trying to have fun with the guys. Well then why'd you invite a girl, you little dickweed?
How do we get past that?
Is this where forgiveness comes in? How do you feel about forgiveness here?
So let me get this right. As a fellow woman, as a therapist, and someone that was present during the therapy session with Joby, Yara, and his mom, you think that Yara should forgive this man for trying to fuck another girl behind her back, or meet up with her, or get blow from her, whatever that was? You think that she should turn to forgiveness? Is this the advice that you would give to your daughter? I doubt it. While we're on the topic, let me know what y'all think in the comments about this, but does this feel like a group therapy session or airing out the dirty laundry of each couple in front of each other? Not to mention, it's unfair because when Kalani and Asuelu start to talk, they don't bring up that she left the resort to go and fuck another dude. So why is it that Joby and Yara's dirty laundry's aired out about going to the strip club, about messaging the girl behind her back, but Kalani doesn't have to say anything? She doesn't have to be held accountable in front of everyone else.
So the whole process of forgiveness, right? It's not for him, it's really for you.
So this old bat goes on to explain forgiveness to Yara, in case Yara didn't know the definition, and talk about how she won't feel shame anymore if she forgives Joby. I would have clapped back so viciously like a gator. Kalani and Asuelu then tell the other Broken Toys that they're getting a divorce, and the other Broken Toys are like, oh no. I'm surprised how many of them reacted like this was a bad thing. It's a great thing. Ed then says something very lovely to Kalani and Asuelu. He says to Kalani, you know, I'm not worried about you. You're very beautiful. I wish you good luck moving forward. For Asuelu, you know, I know what this is like because I've gone through a divorce myself. Ed says to Asuelu, my daughter was like 1.5 when me and her mom got divorced. You guys had kids for a reason, but they can become your strength. My daughter was my strength. I know what you're going through and it sucks, but I promise this man, it'll get better. Real sweetie pie of Edward here. Since he past life regressed into a leprechaun, he's been such a swell guy. I'm sure that when Asuelu grows up, he wants to be just like Ed. The Dogwater therapists then give the cast members note cards so they can write down why or why not they're going to commit tomorrow, because tomorrow's the commitment ceremony. As soon as the group therapy session is over, Joby's power walking to the bar because whenever he has to sit with an uncomfortable feeling, he turns to alcohol. The next morning, Yara has a therapy session with Dr. Dipshit, aka Jenny's clone. During the therapy session, Yara talks about the struggle she faced when growing up in Ukraine. I guess her parents had a lot of expectations on her. She got called chunky a lot growing up, and I feel that. My dad called me a fat fuck whenever I was fat, and I never took offense to it. I just went to the gym and ate less food. From the way the therapist was steering Yara in this conversation, it seemed like she wanted to acknowledge that that was toxic in a way, when I don't necessarily consider parents having expectations for how their kids should look and act as toxic, or discipline as toxic. Like, I don't see it that way. Throughout their conversation, I was side-eyeing it hard because I was confused what this has to do with Joby's infidelity, putting himself in a position to cheat, also messaging the girl behind Yara's back, not to mention not respecting her boundaries. It just had nothing to do with that. So this therapist, in a really roundabout way, tells Yara that she shouldn't feel ashamed because she shouldn't care about what other people think. What she says took about 3 minutes, and we could have said it in about 5 seconds. And while we're on the topic, this episode was 1 hour and 25 minutes when it really could have been 20 minutes. There is so much filler in this episode. The next cast member we see is Liz. She's folding laundry on the floor, and she tells the audience that she slept on the couch last night and not in the bed with Ed. This is such a selfish look for Ed, not giving his woman the bed. I get that she was picking a dumb argument with him, but that's not very gentlemanly.
So I got Ed a ring more than a year ago. I've never given it to him because the timing never seemed right.
Yo, this is so crazy. Liz looked so much healthier before Ed, and now she's talking about giving him a ring. Just because he's Frodo Baggins' height doesn't mean that you have to be his Gandalf. Cutscene to Ed, we see him crying, and when the producer asks why he's crying, he says, in my past life, I was thrown away, and Liz has never thrown me away, even though I've broken up with her 13 times plus. The next couple we see is Yara and Joby. She reminds her husband that the commitment ceremony is today, so if he has anything to say to her, he should do so now.
Okay, I'm sorry for what happened about even going to the strip club in general and messaging the stripper. I know it's a lot. I'm sorry. I don't know. Saying I'm sorry can't fix everything.
All right. It's nice to see that Joby is finally apologizing to Yara and seems like he's more rational. Yara then asks her husband if he wants to be with that girl instead of her, and he says, of course not. I want to be with you.
I love you. I think you're beautiful. There's no stripper that looks better than you.
Yara then explains to Joby that when he goes to strip clubs, it makes her feel incredibly bad and insecure about herself, and her husband shouldn't be doing the most to go and look at other naked women.
I think I am not a freaking ugly waiting for you at home.
You're perfect, and it's not about you, and I want you to know that.
I tell you about my insecurity. I'm so freaking insecure about my body. I do not like my body. You see how much freaking I am obsessed with the gym? If the therapist was here right now, she'd probably look Yara dead in the eyes and say, have you ever thought about forgiving yourself for your insecurities? Good news, everyone. Joby then tells Yara that he won't go to the strip clubs anymore, and he wasn't aware that it was hurting her this much. I don't believe that part, but I do hope that he never goes to the strip clubs anymore, because then they won't really have that many problems in their relationship. Now, will they? When Joby says this to Yara, she smiles and tells him to please keep this promise to her because she can't take much more of this disrespect. Joby says to his wife that he's gonna prove that he can be the husband and the father that she wants him to be. Fast forward, Socks, it's time for the commitment ceremony. Yay! All the women decide to wear white except for Kalani. Meanwhile, on the men's side, Ed and Joby dressed up, but Asuelu didn't, and he's wearing a bucket hat like the kid he is.
Today is not a happy day for me. I feel a lot of emotions, embarrassed, heartbroken.
You know what really twists my titties? How Asuelu's always trying to put himself in the victim position or get sympathy from the audience when all he had to do in his relationship with Kalani was the bare minimum and she wouldn't have cheated on him. She wouldn't have left him. How Kalani and Asuelu's relationship ended is proof that sometimes you become the very thing that you despise the most. It takes so much strength when something bad happens to you, cheating for example, to rise above it and not seek out revenge.
It is time to decide, are you ready to rededicate?
This is so dumb, but the first couple to go up there and read their note cards to each other are Angela and Michael. And it's worth mentioning that before even going up there, Angela made it seem like she was going to divorce Michael.
I'm sick of being hurt by this man. And honestly, I don't know if I can take that again in my heart.
But look at them up there. They're like the Plankton and his wife of the 90-day verse.
I promise you, my wife, I will not lie to you. And I'll be honest with you.
Hey, good speech, Michael, but if you really wanted to impress Angela, you should have wrote down, I'll be there for you. Anything you want, I'ma do for you, girl. Could you imagine if he quoted Soulja Boy because Angela hates him? Oh, wow. Angela then says something that takes Michael by surprise. She says that she brought divorce papers to the resort. The good news is, though, that she just used the divorce papers as a prop and clickbait because she ends up ripping them in half and telling Michael that she loves him. Hopefully, Michael's visa gets approved, but at the rate it's going, it might not be for another 30 years. Could you imagine if Angela died before Michael got his visa approved? Angela says to the audience that when she first arrived at the resort, she thought that Michael had to do all the work and she didn't have to do anything. But after going through therapy, she's realized that she has to work on the way that she treats her husband and also her anger management. That's cool. She's even admitted that it's progress, but I do want to see her acknowledge that she needs to stop flirting with other guys and cheating on him. The next couple they bring up is Kalani and Asuelu. Kalani reads her note card and tells Asuelu that she hopes that they can work on their communication and also do a good job of co-parenting their kids. Asuelu then apologizes for everything he's done that's hurt Kalani in the past. He wants them to love and respect each other and he hopes that she can forgive him. Kalani then tells Asuelu that she does forgive him. If I was a royal, I'd probably knight Asuelu the dumbest of fucks because he's saying things to the audience like, I don't know how to process this. Kalani was my wife. She's the mother of my children and now we're getting a divorce. I lose her. I lose her. Nah, bro, you didn't lose her. You gave up. You stopped putting in effort. It's great they're getting a divorce and we can close the book on this chapter. One of the top comments on my episode 10 review says, Asuelu totally deserved anything Kalani does or did. There are so many people that try to use this argument of he deserved it. I never said he didn't deserve it. What I'm saying is don't stoop down to someone's level. Hold yourself up here and then you'll attract someone that's better quality and a better human being overall to build a life with. What I will say is there's a lot of people that are throwing out these sexual assault allegations against Asuelu. When Kalani posted that on Instagram, there is no proof that was presented that he did in fact sexually assault her. And I'm not saying it didn't happen. I'm not saying it did happen because we don't know. Those are very serious allegations. Those can ruin someone's life. And if they are true, that person's a piece of shit for sexually assaulting anyone. It's one of the most wicked, evil things you can do to someone. There's a lot of details that are missing from that post, and I'm gonna cover it at the end of the video, so make sure you stay until the end of the video. Joby and Yara get called up to the commitment ceremony. Joby looks way shorter than Yara, but she's also wearing heels, and the editing made it seem like Yara wasn't gonna recommit to Joby, but she does. Joby says to Yara, I wanna work on communicating with you better and building trust with each other because that's one of the main things we had issues with. I want to make you feel loved, and I wanna make you feel beautiful, and I wanna give you and Mila more of my time. I wanna give you more special romantic moments to make you feel appreciated. And I love the way you've changed me to be a better person. Oh, that's real sweetie pie. After Joby says this, Yara says that he's so cute and gives him a hug. Yara then tells Joby that he's a super loving husband and the best daddy in the world, something that if any guy heard, they'd be smiling ear to ear. Yara and Joby recommit to each other and they look very happy from what I've seen on their Instagrams. Hopefully he doesn't do any snake shit behind her back again. The last couple we see walk up there is Ed and Liz.
I want you to know how truly lucky you are to have found such a beautiful catch.
Oh my gosh.
This might be Ed's best joke yet. Liz's face is priceless. Ed goes on to say that Liz is a great fiance and mother, and he thanks her for her patience with him and not leaving him even though he's cheated on her a bunch in the past. He doesn't bring up the cheating part, but he thanks her for her loyalty. Ed says that he plans to cherish Liz and her daughter forever, then bam, he gets down on one knee and asks her to marry him. Funny enough, when Ed gets down on one knee, Liz stops him and says, let me speak first before I give you my answer, and Ed gets up and says, oh shit, you might as well call Ed Mary right now because his mind's going to the worst place. Oh my God, does Liz not want to marry me? Liz then gives Ed a very thoughtful speech about basically running off into the sunset together. She tells him that she will move to Arkansas with him, and then bam, she pulls out a ring for him. When Liz pulled out the ring, all the cast members were like, whoa, that's totally wicked. Ed and Liz embraced, they kissed as the sun was setting, and boy oh boy, it would be romantic if it was anyone else. The creatures are all getting drunk, and before Ed got to give Liz the 3 inches of fury for 5 minutes, he decided to invite all of them to his wedding. Ed and Joby then decide to squash the beef. Ed tells Joby that he loves him, and Joby gives him a kiss, and boy oh boy, is this show faker than the WWE. There's nothing we can do to change season 1. However, moving forward, if there is a season 2, I pray that they watch these videos because the ending made no sense, the pacing made no sense, how certain creatures forgave each other at different parts throughout this entire season made no sense. There's a lot of holes in all the storylines. So right now, let's talk about the very serious allegations that Kalani made against Asuelu. It's confusing for a lot of people, and I see a lot of misinformation being spread on every single video, because when Kalani posted that Asuelu sexually assaulted her or pinned her down to give her the second child, a lot of people just ran with the story. There's no evidence that's been submitted to back up those claims, and from the way she's moved on this show, it just seems like she was so friendly and forgiving and loving with Asuelu, when it's like, would you act that way with someone that sexually assaulted you? If someone really did sexually assault you, why didn't you report it to the authorities? There's a lot of questions, and I'm not saying that she's lying. I'm saying that there's a lot of holes in the story, and it's something that you don't just lob up and not provide details. Kalani posted on Instagram about 4 weeks ago that she's had enough of the hate mail, rape/death threats, so she wanted to clear some stuff up, which right away, that's crazy to be sending someone hate mail and death threats. It's so fucked up. Right away, Kalani says, I did not have a one-night stand with Asuelu. While we didn't even kiss until 2 weeks after knowing each other, I met him in early 2016. We intentionally got pregnant in May 2017. Right away, to be fair, intentionally getting knocked up by a man that's not mentally there, financially not in a position to bring children into this world, and lives in a foreign country, not the best decision to make. She goes on to say, my parents do not monetarily support me in any way and never have. The Utah house was half mine, that's public record, and I always pay my part. I do not live with my parents and support myself. That line that her parents have never monetarily supported her is not true. Her parents supported her financially until she was well in her 20s and able to make money herself. Not to mention, just about this entire girl's family has sacrificed so much time that they could have been spending making money to watch her children that she's had with Asuelu. We've seen it on the show. Not to mention, to my knowledge, we've never seen Kalani work a job while she was on this TV show. Now it's the point where we read the very serious allegations. I had a second baby because I was held down. He apologized for that, and the other times I was S.A., it's recorded. You can imagine how it feels to get messages about taking responsibility and learning to keep my legs shut when they were forced open. None of you know anyone you watch. You know a version of people and you crucify them over things out of their control. And for what? May all of that energy be returned back to you and yours. At the time Kalani posted about this, she was getting called out for banging another dude on this TV show, which was Dallas. Obviously, less people are going to send you messages about taking responsibility when you accuse your ex-husband of sexual assault. Obviously, this makes the situation very loaded, because if this really did happen, it's evil, it's wicked, it should be addressed. I just wish that she provided more details, because right away, it's confusing. So, Asuelu held you down and came inside of you. Why would you not go to the store and get Plan B the next day and then kick him out of the house because no one should be having sex with you without your permission? And I'm confused why she didn't go to the authorities with this. Why didn't you file a restraining order against Asuelu? There's a lot of questions that anyone would ask. I understand that this is very traumatic and it's very emotional to talk about. I totally get that. But if I was Kalani and someone sexually assaulted me, I wouldn't just take that. I wouldn't go on a TV show and be open to talking about co-parenting. I would never want to talk to that person again. So there's a lot of things that don't make sense to me. I'm trying to understand the situation, because what it seems like is she was getting a lot of backlash and then threw up something that is very loaded to say, a very loaded accusation to make about someone. After going on this TV show, talking about how you forgive him, talking about co-parenting together. We've seen a lot of things on this TV show that, you know, are the ways that a woman moves that hasn't experienced that. I just want to know. I wish there were more details, Because when she's talking about how people are telling her to take responsibility, that has nothing to do with Asuelu. They're telling her to take responsibility for leaving the resort and fucking Dallas as a married woman when she had her kids at the resort and everything that we've talked about in previous videos. So now she's making it about him sexually assaulting her in the past and making those allegations because we don't know if he's done it. And if she has recordings, what does that mean? I need more details, because does that mean that you have a sex tape where you're telling him to stop while he keeps having sex with you without your permission? And if so, please release that to the authorities, because if someone sexually assaults someone, they should be held accountable. It's evil. We just watched Molly and her daughter lie about Kelly, and everyone questioned that right away. When it comes to Kalani making these claims about Asuelu, no one questions it because he's cheated on her 12 times in the past and he's a dumbass and no one likes him. And I get why no one likes him. I totally understand that. I don't like the guy. I think he's a fucking schmuck. If she presents evidence, if she goes to the authorities and it is true, well then case solved, right? But it is very irresponsible to just throw an accusation like this out there that could ruin someone's life and not provide evidence to back it up. I think she should release the details. However, because I didn't believe her allegations right away, there's gonna be a lot of people that call me a misogynist, that are gonna say that I hate women. I don't hate women, I love women. I look up to my mother, I look up to my father, I am an equalist and I treat men and women the same. What I am saying is I would like to see her post more details and evidence to back up these claims, because claims like this ruin people's lives. And more often than not, when women claim that they were sexually assaulted, it is true. But there's also that 2% to 10% that lie. We saw that with Amber Heard, we've seen that with Memphis, we've seen that with a lot of people that have gone on this TV show actually. And what we saw with Memphis was a lesson for me, because what she did was make irresponsible decisions for herself and her family, try to put herself in the victim position. When she got called out by a lot of people, that's when she made these allegations. And I'm not saying Kalani did that. What I'm saying is we've seen that happen before, something similar to this, and Memphis lied. Let me know what y'all think about Kalani's allegations in the comments below. Once again, I'm not saying that I don't believe her. I would just like to see evidence before I make a decision. And I know the therapists are dog water on this TV show, but if something traumatic like that happened to you, wouldn't you bring it up with the therapist on the TV show? She already talked about how he cheated on her the past 12 times. So I just find that odd that she didn't bring that up if that did happen. I hope that more details come out, and if details do come out, please message me and let me know on Instagram or on YouTube in the comment section. If you got some spare change, check out our merch. If you want some one-on-one time with me, please order Cameo. I'm the #1 Cameo creator in the entire world. Super thankful that y'all watch my content. Comment below, subscribe. Let's be friends, let's be friends. Follow me on Twitch and on Instagram right now.